Agatha All Along episode 7 has aired, which means we have 2 more episodes left, and those air the day before Halloween, or All Hallows Eve, if you will. But this episode was everything and more to me, because a lot of the time when you have a character from a comic that has very little information like Lillia does, they just kind of make it up and it's not good. Lillia was so good. There was so much care and love in her story that I'm just so absolutely floored and flabbergasted by this episode.
I loved being a witch.
So much inclusion and love and witchcraft lore, and it was so good. Dig a little bit into my thoughts on this episode, some Easter eggs and all that good stuff. We have a lot of the characters dressed as other characters in here, all of them under the Disney umbrella, because they have to be. Lillia is the good witch, or Glinda from Wicked, depending on where you are looking from, which is actually very poignant to her character. She can be seen 2 ways, but is almost always good. It is almost always the hero. In The Wizard of Oz, she is sort of a guide and protector of Dorothy. But in Wicked, she is a friend of Elphaba for the most part, but she is a little bit selfish when it comes to protecting her own self and the ways like her own livelihood.
To get my power back. Is it gone? Where did it go? This is not the true reason.
Which relates to Lillia and her inability to want to continue living in the way of a witch, like getting a coven, using her magic. She says that being a fraud is easier, which in some ways is relative to Glinda, or Glinda in some cases. Agatha, in the same vein, she's dressed as the Wicked Witch, and also Elphaba, depending on what you're looking at. Elphaba is a misunderstood witch, and the Wicked Witch is a evil witch. So depending on what you are looking at, you get that kind of story, which is actually very similar to Agatha herself. She is a little bit of a misunderstood witch who just wants to make a good name for herself, and it backfires on her until she accepts that no good deed goes unpunished. Jen is the witch from Snow White, and as much as I wish she was Mother Gothel, because the quest for power with Mother Gothel and wanting that eternal youth and power would be so good and reflective of Jen's character, especially with her skincare line. But being the Snow White witch, she is actually doing everything that she can in her power to get her powers back, no matter what the cost to other people is, like her lawsuit, where she has hurt people in the attempt to regain her power. Billy is Maleficent, who is a fairy and not a witch, depending on which source you get it. And she is the mistress of all evil, supposedly, which is actually a very good reflection of Billy's journey right now. He is the son of the Scarlet Witch, and a lot of the Coven is afraid of him and his power now that they've seen it and now that they know who his mother is. Like Maleficent, there is ultimately good underneath it all, and even though they are afraid of him, he still has a good head on his shoulders and a good heart in his chest. Despite the black heart thing, he's still good-hearted. This episode bounces back and forth in time, and even though I am the Loki girly ever, and you know that, I am not saying that this is multiversal. It has nothing to do with my beloved god of stories. This is purely divination and witchcraft. It bounces between the trial at the tarot table, Lillia's mother, which, this is so niche, but put Papa Nil and her mom at a table together. I just want to see them talk. They're very similar in some ways, but the whole time I was thinking about Papa Nil. And then we flip to the tunnel with Jen and Lillia, where Jen is trying her best to work with Lillia's gaps in time and gaps in her functionality.
You said this might happen, but you're being extra wispy.
Wispy?
And she's doing really good to try to just be on that page with her, even though she keeps flipping pages and even flipping the book. Her sacrifice is very similar to her death in the book. She does sacrifice herself for the battle. She sacrifices herself so Strange can fight Mor'du and win. And she dies at the hands of a gargoyle in the comics, where she has died at the hands of trying to defeat the Salem 7, which she only defeats 5 out of the 7. So we'll see what happens there, because you let 2 run free.
Also, mercy is overrated.
And that goes with Agatha's mercy is overrated, you shouldn't let people run free. So I'm interested to see how that comes back and bites us a little bit, because nothing has but that's a lot of double negatives. Nothing has not come back to bite us. Also, when they show Death, she might be holding a crown of snakes, which is Lillia's crown in the comics. And I thought that was really interesting. I don't know if that actually is what it is, because it's kind of hard to tell, but that's what it reminds me of. The way that this was written is such a respectful way to do a character arc, and I'm endlessly grateful for the care and time that everyone took to actually write and act and portray this death. There's so much ability for senseless death of characters, and we've seen it in the Marvel Universe. Secret Invasion. And it didn't feel like a wasted death with Lillia. They honor and respect death and its passage just like any good witch should. Speaking of death, the entire tarot card scene, I was screaming because they keep vilifying the death card. And if you know anything about tarot, death is not scary, the tower is scary. So once that was pulled, I was terrified and I knew that she was gonna die because the tower is so much worse than death, because death just means something is changing. The tower, whoo boy, that one's really scary. So it's cool to see like her death being like the tower and her falling down the tower like most cards are. It's just, they did it so good. It was so good. This could have been like such a messy episode because tarot is sometimes seen disrespectfully, and they did such a good job. Even though like Agatha was like, this is all a scam, blah, 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 but like the people who enjoy tarot, the respect to tarot in this was really nice. Also, all of the scenes, like the scene for the Three of Swords, that was Agatha's like thing, and like having it directly relate to the scene with Billy dying. So good. It's so good. It's such good cinema. Bless this episode for being so openly queer, because this is very much in the same joking pattern as like me and my friend group. So I very much enjoyed that it was like, you know, if you want straight answers, go find a straight lady, or like, I love bad boys, or like Agatha's like pause of like, I was your mother's ex best friend. It's just, Billy's stupid queer pun. It was so good. It's fundamentally like all your friends going to brunch. It was very good. And I'm very glad to see something after waiting so long for like Loki and stuff to be openly queer and not getting that like jokingness. And like, you have to have this kind of comedy if these people, I hope, are going to take the helm of Young Avengers, where they make those jokes all the time. Whew. So anyway, I think it was a very good fundamental base of like, I saw the reflection of my own life in there with like me and my queer friends. It was very fun. And it's really cool to see that finally like on a show that's like a Marvel show, because we've been suppressed for so long. They've been cutting us for time. They've been cutting us for censorship. Like, it was really cool to see that we had like those moments in here. And we could just like unapologetically be the selves that we are and make the jokes that we make in real life. That was really cool. And then we move on to the last two episodes, which we've seen some hints at, but I do believe that this will be Billy's trial. A lot of people have said it's Rio's because they are in a morgue, but it also could be Billy's because they're in a morgue, because William Kaplan should have died. And I do think that this is going to be the answer to his question as the Traveler. Am I William Kaplan or am I Billy Maximoff? Because a lot of fans have been really upset that he has been called Billy Maximoff or William Kaplan. I think his thing that he will get out of the road is that he will become Billy Kaplan, and that will be something he accepts. He is not William. He doesn't have the memories of William. He is not Billy. He doesn't have the memories of Billy. He is Billy Kaplan. He exists within 3 years ago. Rebecca is his mother more than the Scarlet Witch, because that is the only mom he's known. But it is within those 3 years that he has known her. He doesn't call Wanda mom in the comics. He calls Wanda Wanda or the Scarlet Witch, and very rarely actually calls her mom. Like, he'll get to that point in the comics where he'll call her mom every once in a while, but that is not something he's very comfortable with, and he will not get comfortable with in this series. I know, I'm sorry, Wanda stans, it's just not gonna happen. That's just not Billy yet. If he doesn't even have Tommy, like, that's just not something he's gonna accept right now. But I do think he will accept that he is Billy Kaplan and he is both of those people and this new person. Like, he's a different being entirely, and he doesn't have to be chained to his past in either way. But that's something that we'll find out in the next 2 episodes, and I'm really excited to find those Easter eggs and tell you some more about comic lore within them. And it's the last time I'll get to talk about Agatha with you guys, so let's make it kind of exciting. It's also the day before Halloween, so that's extra fun. So if you like this, let me know what you guys thought about Lillia, and what do you guys think Billy's actually gonna get out of the end of the road? Who do you think's gonna make it to the end of the road? Were you excited about Lady Death Rio? Because she did really just show up and then leave again. But I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on this episode, and I will see you guys next week. Bye!